Picture this. You just started another diet. Perfectly planned. Everything is ready. All your meals are prepped. You're ready to go. It's Monday. You are going to ace this diet. For the first few days, you're on top of the world. Everything's going smoothly. And then motivation starts waning. Craving starts kicking in. The hunger is getting worse.
Oh, snap.
We quit. Sounds familiar? This is the cycle so many of us go through. The problem isn't necessarily the diet itself, but rather where we focus our efforts. That's what I want to unpack today. Our effort. Let's break it down into a pie chart. If that pie chart makes up 100%, most of us dedicate 100% everything to diet. And that is the wrong way to approach it. So let's just quickly have a big picture breakdown. 50% of that pie should be diet. 10% should be exercise. Yes, exercise is important, but exercise isn't there for fat loss. I've been preaching that for a very long time. Exercise is there to help us cope with life, muscular endurance, muscular health, metabolic health, mental health. But also, we don't exercise every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day. We exercise 5, 6 times a week maybe. And with exercise, it's more about being consistent in focusing 100% on exercise. Unless you're an athlete and you get paid by how well your body performs. That's not 99% of us now. So now, if we think back, if 50% is diet, 10% is exercise, so where's the other 40%? What do you think that 40% is? And this is where many of us go wrong. That 40% is our emotional well-being, our mental health, our stresses, our worries, our anxiety. The thing is, a lot of times these emotions drive us to habitual eating, eating out of escape, eating our emotions, or in some extent, avoiding food completely, and more destructive, how these emotions many times lead us to consume alcohol, get lost in alcohol and all these things. And what does that do? It's more energy coming in again and again and again. So, what I want you to think about here, emotional eating is a big sabotager for many of us. And it's that form of escape we keep going to. You know what? I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to have the cookies again after a bad day. I'm not going to have the beers. What do we do tomorrow? Exactly the same thing again. Reflect a bit. That 50, 10, 40. Where and how is most of your effort going? And for most of us, we actually avoid that 40% one, the emotional health. Unless we start addressing the emotional health part, it is nearly impossible to lose the weight and keep it off. 4 steps I'm going to give you in order to get better with this. And they are, number 1, balance your efforts. Shift your focus to include emotional well-being. Allocate your mental energy appropriately. 50% on diet, 10% on consistent exercises, and 40% on emotional health. Become aware of it. Think about it. Focus those energies in the right places. Number 2, practice emotional awareness. Start a journal to track your emotions and how they relate to your eating habits. Identify patterns and triggers that lead to emotional eating. A journal is an amazing tool. Every time when you eat something, even your phone, pop it up right there. Why am I eating this? Am I eating to fuel my body, or am I eating to escape my emotions? The more we do it, the more we can start seeing the patterns, but also the writing it down is an easy way to activate the prefrontal cortex. We can logically process these emotions better. And you know what? It teaches us about our own coping mechanisms. Number 3, develop healthy coping mechanisms. Instead of reaching for food when emotions run high, find alternative ways to cope. This could be through hobbies, talking to a friend, or practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing or meditation. We all have a set of coping mechanisms. The coping mechanisms we revert back to every time something goes wrong. And as I said, for many of us, food or alcohol. That is where we need to start cultivating new coping mechanisms to replace those. I wish I could tell you exactly what it is, but this is where you need to start experimenting, see what works for you. But unless we start replacing those coping mechanisms, nothing will happen with the old coping mechanisms. They will rule us. The fourth one, seek professional support. If emotional eating feels overwhelming, consider talking to a therapist or a counselor. They can help you navigate your emotions and develop healthier strategies. If this is something you know you are struggling with, an eating disorder, emotional eating, you've tried everything, don't be shy to reach out to me. I work in a psychiatric hospital. These are the things I deal with on a weekly basis. If this is something you need more in-depth help with, I'm here to help you on this journey. I've been there myself, and I deal with this every week. So what I'm going to leave you with in order to start this journey is 4 reflection questions. I want you to think about this next few days, and even better, write them down and actually write out what comes to mind. And they are, number 1, how do your emotions affect your eating habits? Number 2, are you focusing too much energy on dieting and not enough on emotional well-being? Number 3, what are some healthy coping mechanisms you can use when emotions run high? Number 4, how can you incorporate consistent, manageable exercise into your daily routine? All of this is about building the awareness of how our emotions are ruling us. It's the starting point, and this is a journey we always have to keep getting better at, because emotions can rule us, usually make things a lot worse than better, and changing that starts with awareness. I would really appreciate a thumbs up in this video or a subscribe to this channel if you found value in this video, and as always, be 1% better today than you were yesterday.